Hey, it's me, Brian Buell, owner, Bonzai Cycle Works. Today, Bonzai and I are going to review the 2020 Kona Big Honzo, as you will become a better rider on a hardtail. So the 2020 Kona Big Honzo, this is an aggressive geometry hardtail, meaning it's 130mm travel up front, really short chainstays, long top tube, short stubby stem that Bonzai's holding on to, and plus size tires. That's where the big part of Big Honzo comes from.
This particular bike being tested is a size large. It has a top tube length of 647mm, a reach of 475. Like all Kona Big Honzos, it has a head tube angle of 67.5 degrees. This allows the bike to handle fun and lively, yet stable and confident in any situation. It also has a 75-degree seat tube angle, and with a 430mm chainstay length, it creates an aggressive hardtail with a bit more versatility. Enjoy the trail going up, enjoy the trail going down. With the Kona Big Honzo, it's ready for anything.
Hit the CushCore.
Big Honzo here has 27.5 plus wheels. The plus size is a 2.8-inch wide tire and a 27.5-inch wheel. So it has some advantages of a 27.5, as well as some advantages of a 29.
A lot of sand.
It is much wider, so it has a lot of grip, traction for days, it climbs everything. So for me personally, this is my favorite wheel size.
I did install CushCore on these wheels. It's a $150 upgrade for the wheels. It is a foam insert that helps protect the rim from hitting rocks and roots, as well as allows the tire to conform better to the trail and add a little bit of extra suspension damping. Big Honzo comes stock with a RockShox Recon RL Solo Air with 130mm travel, tapered steer tube, and 110mm boost spacing. With the 130mm travel suspension fork and 27.5-inch plus tires, make this bike feel like a much bigger travel bike, inspiring confidence and stability no matter which way the trail goes.
This bike is designed for my riding style.
While the 130mm travel fork is ample and very well balanced, a 140mm travel fork could make it even more fun. The stock drivetrain on this bike is the SRAM SX Eagle 12-speed. However, this derailleur is definitely not that. This is the SRAM XX1 AXS. I did give the stock SX a try for a couple rides and I was highly impressed. But nothing shifts like the wireless AXS. The gear range on the rear cassette with 11-tooth small ring and 50-tooth big ring, combined with a 30-tooth chainring up front on the SX crankset, allows this bike to descend at any speed you need and climb whatever may be in your way.
Got it.
Seat post duty is taken over by the Trans X dropper post with a newly redesigned under the bar thumb lever. On this size large, it is a 170mm dropper. On top of the seat post for booty duty is the Kona Trail saddle, which was surprisingly comfortable. The new Trans X lever has ample leverage and cable changes are a breeze, with the anchor point now on the lever instead of inside the frame on the seat post. There are faster returning dropper posts than the Trans X, but the Trans X at this price point is an excellent choice. My first impression of the Shimano NT401 disc brakes was that they would be lacking. After a few rides, I found out they had plenty of stopping power. The ESI extra chunky grips I added gave me extra control and comfort.
Almost lost it.
While the MT401 disc brakes were adequate, with a 180mm rotor up front and a 160mm rotor in the back, I personally would opt for a 4-piston braking system with a little shorter lever, so you don't have to squeeze as hard and get more modulation and extra power.
Ah, damn it. Ooh, hard landing.
After installing the SRAM AXS Wireless shifter, it did take a little getting used to, but after a couple rides, it was perfect, intuitive, and comfortable. The SRAM AXS shifting system never missed a shift, never made a lot of noise. I never had a question of what gear I was in. It just simply worked.
This bike's awesome.
What Kona did with the 2020 Kona Big Honzo is just shy of perfection. With a few nitpicky tweaks, this bike would be a perfect, aggressive hardtail. Some of those tweaks would come stock on the Big Honzo DL or even the Big Honzo ST, the steel frame brother to the Big Honzo. My personal tweaks would be a 140mm travel suspension fork with token ability, like the RockShox Revelation, or the Pike, or even the Lyric. It would also include a 4-piston brake set, like the SRAM Guide RSC or the Code RSC, or if you're a Shimano guy, the Shimano SLX or XT 4-piston brakes. The SRAM SX Power Spline crankset with direct mount 30-tooth SRAM chainring worked flawlessly. Made it to my tried and true Time ATAC DH pedals that I've had since 2001. It feels like there's not much this pedal crank combination can't handle.
It's not done yet. It's not done yet.
If I personally build my own Big Honzo, I will be building a 2020 Kona Big Honzo ST on the steel frame with the adjustable dropouts. I would be adding a 140mm travel fork up front and keeping most of the components otherwise, except I would be swapping over the SRAM AXS system from this bike
Cool.
to whatever I'm on next.
I rolled it last time.
And then top it off with a Knox carbon rim with onyx hubs, silent instant engagement, with Supreme spokes. Beautiful ride.
Now, one of the things I set out to do with this review was see if I really need a full suspension. And this bike proved to me, no, I don't. The 2020 Big Honzo is freaking phenomenal.